Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been another week and it's time to see what I've worked on this time. So first things first, you can see that I've added some wavy trees to the game. This is done through a simple shader, which is placed on the tile map's material. This shader just moves the top two vertexes of the tree across with a variable of amplitude and a variable of speed. This will just change how much the tree moves and how fast it moves, and it's really quite simple. Next you can see this lovely water shader, and if I turn the canvas modulate off, which is what makes it all so dark, you will be able to see that it has a blue hue, and it for now just has the caves tile map texture underneath. It has a distortion value and it looks really good if you have it like this. This is just some variables that I was just playing around with and it looks really good. So all you do is you set the light start and the light end, which will give you the shining bits on the water. You can also change the distortion value up and down. Mine is set as 0.03 after this, and you set two noise textures which just give it this look. So all I'm doing is I'm just playing with the values and showing you that you can change them as much as you want, and this is the shader code. It looks quite bulky and quite long. It is, but it does the job and it works really nicely. So I'm just going to turn the canvas modulate back on so I don't get an error when I run the game. You can see that in game they look lovely. It adds a real aesthetic to the game with the waving trees. I also got the Y sort sorted out and it just looks amazing. You can also see that I turned the enemy AI pathfinding off just because it was just not looking right, and it looks lovely in the dark as well, especially the water. You can see all the waves in there. With the enemy defeated and me showing off the Y sorting on the trees, we can begin moving on to our next feature. Next up, you can see that I added in a dash node. This node has a script on it which will set dashing to true, and it will also spawn some ghosts. And the ghosts are just a bit of a trail behind you. And in the player script, you can see that it's very simple. All I do is call the dash function after I click the right mouse button, and I will dash along in the direction I'm moving. This is a good system, but I do want it to be so that you dash towards the mouse. I feel like it would be more intuitive, like the single shot, and it would make combat much more varied in terms of the way that you can move around while doing it. As well as that, I plan to add an upgrade for the dash called the bullet dash, where you will do damage to enemies when you dash through them, because right now they can't hurt you while you dash through them. Next up is a large chunky piece of code which is all used for the multi-shot system. Essentially the way it works is whenever you shoot, you spawn a set amount of bullet spawners around you in a circle, and then each of those bullet spawners spawn a bullet for themselves. Originally I was having an issue with this where it would start spawning hundreds and hundreds of bullets at the same time, which caused a lot of lag in the game. The way this was sorted is after you shoot, you delete all of the spawn points, otherwise they just start stacking on top of each other. You can see that the multi-shot value has been added to the save data, and you can also see that the mana usage is in the player spell script. And if I go ahead and run the game, I have it in save file number 3, which is where I have the multi-shot and jump. After loading in, you can see that that multi-shot looks really nice, a perfect circle around the player. Originally I had it so that it damaged the player when it hit them, but I changed it because I felt like that would be slightly unfair, and so I changed it so that if it hits the player, it just deletes itself, so that it's not super overpowered, but it's also not going to hindrance you. You can see that if I attempt to change the bullet count in the remote editor, it won't work and it will set it back to 8. This is because it sets it to 8 every time you shoot. However, I will be able to change this as you upgrade the spell and you change it. You can see that I actually simplified the code by changing the array of mana values to a dictionary, which means that I no longer need some of those other variables in there, and that's it. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe and share this video with other people. By the way, next week I will be participating in the Godot Wild Jam, so there won't be a video next week or potentially the week after. It depends on when I get edited, and depending on that, it might also be the last video of the year. So thank you and goodbye.